Huh? I wonder who made these dolls. Waggy,
It was just a bunch of bats, Scoob.
It's the classic adventure movie bit. The protagonists, inspecting the deep, dark recesses of the cave, are suddenly swarmed by the infamous creatures that many connect to vampires. Swooping down out of the blue in the middle of the night, sometimes barely missing the heads of unsuspecting people, it shouldn't be surprising that the portrayal of these nocturnal mammals is often less than pleasant, and that as a result they are largely taken for granted. Bats. They may seem creepy, gross, or just insignificant, but in actuality, they are an integral part of the ecosystems in Vermont, and we need to protect them before it's too late. Bats are a natural pesticide as they typically eat more than 50% of their body weight in insects each night. Fruit bats also spread seeds and help with reforestation in cleared or damaged rainforests. Bats are considered a keystone species because some ecosystems largely depend upon them, and if they were completely removed from these ecosystems, they would be altered drastically. Bat poop, often called bat guano, makes for very good fertilizer which benefits crops in the area. The loss of bats will cause an estimated $3.7 billion loss per year in agricultural systems. Many bat species are endangered worldwide. In Vermont, 5 out of 9 of the native bat species are endangered or threatened. The little brown bat, the Indiana bat, the tricolored bat, the northern long-eared bat, and the eastern small-footed bat. So why are these important animals disappearing? White nose syndrome, otherwise known as WNS, is one of the biggest threats to bats, and it is endemic to the Vermont area. WNS is caused by the fungus Pseudogymnoscus destructans, which was likely brought over from Eurasia. This map indicates where WNS was first found in the United States and how it has spread across the country over time. This cold-loving white fungus infects bats during hibernation, when the bats reduce their metabolic rate and lower their body temperature to save energy over the winter. Hibernating bats affected by WNS wake up to warm temperatures more frequently, which results in using up fat reserves, causing starvation before spring arrives. In 2012, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service estimated 6.7 million bats had died in North America due to white nose syndrome. Many more bats have died since that estimate was made. Vermont's 2 most common bat species, the little brown bat and the northern long-eared bat, have declined over 90% since white nose syndrome was first observed in the state. Typically, the disease kills 70% to 90% of the bats in an affected hibernaculum, the area where bats gather to hibernate for the winter. In some cases, the mortality rate has been 100%, wiping out entire colonies. Several caves that once hosted hundreds of thousands of bats are now virtually empty. Tourism within bat hibernaculums has contributed to the spread of this disease, as traces of the fungus can be brought in on a person's shoes or clothing. There are also several ways that humans have become a threat to bat populations. Some examples of this are bats flying into man-made wind turbines, long-term effects of chemical pesticide contamination of their diet, as well as habitat destruction, which leaves bats with limited hibernation space and resources. While gathering information for our video, we had a unique opportunity to reach out to a fellow student here at UVM doing real-world research on the bat communities in Vermont. Suma Lashuf has been researching 2 Vermont bat species over this past year by gathering DNA samples through the collection of bat guano. These samples are provided to the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department to help monitor the location and health of roosting bat colonies. In her research, Suma has found that humans are much more affected by white nose syndrome than we may think. Bats have contributed much more to the human culture than they are credited for, as studying bats and their physiology has furthered medical research and resulted in important vaccinations and medications, and has also helped humans improve flight and sonar capabilities and technology. Components of bat feces have even improved some soaps and antibiotics. Some things that humans can do to ensure the continuation of bats in spite of this deadly disease are promoting natural bat habitat, protecting water quality, building a bat house, avoiding disturbing bats, and safely removing them from a building if they become trapped. Bats are just one of the many threatened and endangered species around the world, but they are a particularly significant one for our lives and futures. Bat preservation will require great effort and cooperation from scientists and citizens alike.